America now in an arms race with China, and the commies' pursuit of hypersonic weapons is only increasing tensions. So what is the Biden administration going to do about it? A new report claims presidential climate envoy John Kerry, has been lobbying against a Republican bill that would block the import of Chinese products made with Uyghur slave labor. Why? Kerry reportedly believes that standing up to the Chinese on the issue of slavery would get in the way of his climate agenda. So how can the Biden administration play hardball with China if they're appeasing them at the same damn time? Here with me in studio, I haven't seen this man in the flesh in probably 4 years. Former CIA officer, Portman Square Group chairman and CEO, the one and only Mike Baker.
It has been a while.
I know.
Look at this.
Welcome to the spaceship.
I know. I feel like we should just leave now, go get a drink.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to call John Kerry an idiot because that's not fair, but he's a moron. And
it's a different word entirely.
Yeah, and so, look, we've got a real problem with China, and this is just one example of it. I just wish, and it's going to sound like I'm taking a left turn here, but I just wish that the current administration, the U.S. administration, had the same cojones as an organization like the Women's Tennis Association, right, which just said, that's it. We're not going to hold any tournaments in China or Hong Kong. I know that sounds like a simple thing, but you've got to stand up at some point for something.
Do you know how much money they stand to make with all the tournaments they have in China, and how much money China has pledged the WTA to keep those tournaments over there?
Yeah.
And they're saying that because Peng Shuai, who was the former pro doubles player who also competed in 3 Olympics.
3 Olympics, yeah.
She's gone missing.
Yeah. And it's at least somebody is standing up to China, right? Whether it's because of their constant theft of intellectual property and research and development, whether it's their blatant aggressiveness, right, in this desire of theirs to reclaim the Pacific territory that they believe to be their right, whether it's their increasing aggressiveness towards Taiwan, there's a lot. Or how about this? The fact that they still have not provided any transparency around the origins of COVID, right? And the world is letting them get away with it. The U.S. administration currently is letting them get away with it.
The IOC is letting them get away with it. The UN, the WHO, like every institutional body is letting them get away with it. But when you lay all those things out, it's hard to fathom that this is all happening because of one country. You know, it's like genocide, slave labor, the human rights violations in Tibet, not to mention Taiwan, Hong Kong, the disappearance.
Remember, there was a brief shining moment in time when people acted concerned about Xi's regime in China and their squashing of any last vestiges of democracy in Hong Kong. That lasted for a brief shining moment, and then everybody deflected to the next shiny thing, like a bunch of raccoons. And so we have again, there's this idea that, well, what leverage do we have over China? Well, we better start acting as if we're concerned at least and take some measures, take some steps against the regime, but we're not doing it. And the current administration certainly isn't doing it. And John Kerry's comments about, this, I don't want to upset the conversation about climate change. Really? As if China cares about climate change.
Than arbitrary climate deadlines?
Yeah, they don't.
I think it is, and it absolutely should be. And shame on everyone in power who's not holding them accountable. Now, the hypersonic missile. Is that as big of a deal as Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is making out, or is it just sort of a ploy to get more money?
No, this is a massive deal. When you think about, God forbid there should be, let's knock on wood if they had, I have no wood in front of me. That's not true. I'm sorry. I was about to make a terrible joke. But anyway, but the point is, I don't know what that is. It's a family show. But the point is that, look, hypersonics, cyber warfare, that's where it's all going to play out if there's another global conflict. And the reason why hypersonics technology is so important is because whoever, and it's really only China, Russia, and the U.S. in this race to develop hypersonic missiles and weapons capability.
And Russia doesn't have the money.
And they really don't, unless oil maintains its price levels and maybe higher than it is currently. But the idea is whoever develops that capability basically negates all existing missile defense systems in the world. Right? So suddenly you vaulted yourself to the top of the food chain.
This is when we go from the musket to the machine gun.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what, and China understands that there is a tremendous amount of money in research and development that goes into, both on the U.S. side, the Chinese side, the Russian side, into hypersonics. It is critically important. And again, that is the next, theater of war. And it will also include cyber warfare. But, part of the problem is everything we do in terms of research and development, it gets hoovered up by the Chinese because they're so damn good.
They steal everything. Yeah.
They steal
But American
everything.
companies like, oh, yeah, we want access to your market. So here you go. You can have all of our blueprints. We don't even care as long as we make money. Bunch of weenus.
Yeah, sister,
Mike.
you and I.